Hello, everybody. Let's wait for a few minutes, get a few people in here. How are you guys tonight? Welcome. If you are new to Room, then just all you need to do to participate in and comment in the top chat during the live stream, you can comment in the regular section no matter what. But if you want to comment in the top chat section, you need to be subscribed for 60 seconds. So just go ahead and subscribe, and so that you can ask questions, share your comments, share your views. All I ask is that you please keep it classy and nice. I've got my coffee. There is such a brand as Killer Coffee, just for those of you that didn't know it. It's from Australia. I haven't been able to get it on Amazon though this month. They must have sold out. But I did find the link if I want to order it from Australia, but I think I'll wait. So I've got my coffee. I got some comfy clothes on, and I'm ready for a great chat. Hi, Sonia. Hi, Holly. Hi, No Excuses. Yeah, we're going to do some really great information. We have updates on Summer Wells. I have updates on Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie, and I have updates on Crystal Schulte and Kylen Schulte and Crystal Turner. And I'm going to do we're going to start with Summer Wells. And then in a little while, we're going to move on to some really juicy updates about what happened in Moab with Kylen Schulte, Crystal Turner, and some updates on Brian Laundrie and his parents. So it should be a good chat tonight. Again, my name is Jessica Della Davies. You're with Reporter Room. And if you want to leave a comment or talk to me, just subscribe, and then you can join the top chat after 60 seconds, aka 1 minute. That's it. So the top chat's for subscribers only. Everybody can watch. You're welcome to watch and join us. I'm so glad that you're here. And also, I just want to let you know that everything that I'm about to share with you is my opinion, and opinions are not facts. So please, please do not send any negativity to anyone, anytime, anywhere. Let's be kind and warm and caring toward each other. So we're going to talk about Summer Wells. And as you probably are aware, today is the 6-month anniversary of the day that she went missing. Summer went missing on June 15th of this year, 2020. And today is December 15th. And so she has now been missing for exactly 6 months. And I hope that we can get some answers as to where she is and what's going on. So tomorrow I have a brand new video coming out around 7 a.m. tomorrow. I have a new theory in the Summer Wells case. And I think that it's something that you're going to be really interested in. So look for that tomorrow. Also, we're going to talk about the cemetery area that a lot of people are making videos about, a lot of creators. And also, we're going to talk about what's been going on with Candus Wells. For those of you that don't know, she filed a police report against, I guess, some content creators that were trespassing allegedly on her property. And so she did rush down to the police station to report that. And then the police told her, they advised her that she needed to seek a, quote, private protection warrant, a private protection warrant, if she wanted to press charges for trespassing. So let's see, we've got No Excuses, Sonia, Holly, and Jennifer. Welcome, Jennifer. So we have a full moon coming. Is that what you guys are telling me? Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. So let's get started. Um, the cemetery area that we all saw. I don't know if you saw it or not, but it's the Goads, which is the family of Summer Wells, and then on the cemetery, on one of the plots, on the plot of Dawn Wells' mother, there's a um, circle which is made up of what you would normally use to section off your garden. And so it's little stubs and it's done in a circle. And then whatever was planted in there has died. And a lot of people are speculating that maybe summer is there. I don't think so, because my understanding is that the dogs did search all of the local cemeteries. I've also seen other videos where creators thought that um, maybe the cemeteries hadn't been searched, and that would be a really good place. But my understanding from law enforcement is that all of the cemetery in the area, all of the cemeteries have been searched, and they were searched with dogs. So, hey, Donna, if you see me looking over here, it's because I'm reading the live chat, and then I'm talking to you guys. So hey, Donna, nice to see you. Welcome. There's Sonia says hi, and Holly Southern Style says, yeah, you probably don't want to Google the face of what's leading up. There's no way around it. Okay. Be careful what words you guys use in the chat, because there's certain words that YouTube doesn't allow, so I may not see your full message. So, and if you put in certain words, the YouTube will just withhold those words, so I can't read it. So now we're learning that from Molly Golightly, that, and also Bullhorn Betty, that apparently the Dawn Wells, Candus Wells house has multiple police reports from the Wells partying with minors. And for me, and tell me what you guys thought. Hi, Anna. Hi, Ronnie girl. If you guys are just joining us and you want to join the top chat, the live chat, all you need to do is subscribe and then wait 1 minute, and then you can join in and post your questions, your comments, say hello. If you would be so kind as to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. So, so there's multiple police reports of minors, underage kids, partying up at the Wells house. And y'all know there are certain things I just cannot say about, of certain words I can't use, but I'll just use the word partying. And so parents were calling authorities about the partying and then reporting that, wanting their kids to come home. And I don't know, what do you guys think about that? Holly, we're going to talk about Brian Laundrie in a little bit. I do have some really good, juicy information about the Laundrie parents and Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito, but we're going to talk about that in a little bit. We're going to start with Summer Wells tonight. Hi, Sunny Sandy. You haven't missed too much. If you guys are just joining us, please give this video a thumbs up. And also, if you would be so kind, if you want to participate in the top chat, you just need to be subscribed and then wait 60 seconds, and then you can join the top chat. If you want to leave a comment in the comment section below, everyone can do that. And everyone, of course, is invited and welcome to watch. Hi, Jennifer. Nice to see you. Welcome to Reporter Room. So for those of you that don't know, my name is Jessica Della Davies. I'm an investigative reporter. And so today we're going to start with Summer Wells, and then in a little bit, we're going to move on to the Kylen Schulte, Crystal Turner, Moab murder case. And we're also going to talk about Brian Laundrie, the Laundrie parents, and Gabby Petito tonight. So we have a lot to get through. So Sonia Stranger says, at this point, I don't doubt this. And Ronnie Girl says, one of the kids was Kim from Cracking Cases. That's why he defends them. I don't want to get too much into like the YouTuber drama. I want to try to avoid that because I'm not involved in that, and I'm not really sure exactly what's what's going on. I guess I missed the beginning of it. I was sick for about a week, and so I missed the drama, but I don't want to get bogged down into that because I know nothing about it. So I just want to try to keep it positive here. I don't do the drama anyway. It's not what my channel is here for. I'm here for you guys. I'm here for the cases. I'm here to help find Summer Wells. I'm here to get justice for Kylen, Schulte, and Crystal Turner. I'm here to get justice for Gabby Petito. So that's why I'm here. So Sharon Chivalry says, why are they allowed to keep doing things that they're doing and the law enforcement keeps letting them do it and not get arrested for any of their deeds? And Sonia's in bed with pneumonia. I'm so sorry, Sonia. I hope you feel better. And Anna D wants to know, did the parents press charges? So when Candus did call the police and she did file a complaint, and I can understand it from her point of view. I wouldn't want people just coming onto my property without my permission and with for any reason. I think that would make me nervous and uncomfortable, especially if you're home there alone. So I can totally understand why Candus would feel upset. And apparently this happened 2 days in a row. So she did go file a police report, but as far as the police advised her to seek a private protection warrant. I don't know if she's filed the paperwork for that yet or not. And so we're waiting to hear more about it. But as of when I went live, none of that has been made public yet. Sonia's in bed with pneumonia. Anna D said, did the parents press charges? And Linda Kramer, hope you're feeling better soon, Sonia. Oh, you guys are all so nice to each other. So let's also talk about the idea of partying with minors. So when I heard that come up about the idea that they were having police reports, for me, the biggest red flag that went off in my head, and tell me what you guys thought about this. I thought immediately about Hunter. What did you guys think? And we're going to call him H today, just for sake. Hi, Rianne. Nice to see you. So I thought immediately about H and wondered why the Wells parents are partying with underage minors. What do you guys think about that? Why are they partying? And did that have anything to do with the invitation on the day Summer went missing, June 15th, where Candus invited H to join her to go to a water park or go fishing? That's what he was initially invited for. That's not what they did, but that's what he was invited for. What did you think about the fact that Molly Golightly and Bullhorn Betty found these police complaints about the Wells parents, Dawn and Candus, partying with underage kids? What is it about their household or their proclivities that would make you want to party with underage children? Debbie Z just joined the chat. Hi, Debbie. Nice to see you. Welcome. And she has a really cute Summer Wells. I don't know what you call it. I don't want to say emoji, but it's really pretty. Jennifer Hitchcock says, what about the box the diver from Nita Diver in East Tennessee found in the river in Rogersville, Tennessee, 23 minutes from the Wells home? My understanding, Jennifer, is that it was a box, but it's not related to the Summer Wells case, and that it didn't have anything to do with Summer Wells. At least if it does, it's not anything that the FBI or the TBI, and the TBI did update us today. It was like a 1-minute update, but they did give us just a quick update to just let us know that they were still on the case and they were still working to find Summer Wells. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Holly Southern Style says, who was the PI that was there with and H from North Carolina? Who was the PI that was there with H from North Carolina? I don't know anything about the PI. I know yesterday when I know that there was some kind of, for you're talking about when they came and got H, there the father was trying to see his son and apparently set in some kind of a private investigator to get H to enact his right to see his child. And I guess Allie was really upset about that, but my understanding is he did go visit his father. And to be clear, H is just 15 years old, so I don't want to use his name if we can stay away from that. And it says, I meant, did the parents of the minors press charges against Ken and Dondis? Candus and Don. Okay, so did the parents? No, I think they were just calling and complaining, asking, complaining about the partying and complaining. But I don't know that any charges were ever filed or pressed or went forward from that. Great question. So we know Don's background. We know that his two stepsisters, Mary and Jeannie, have both come forward with charges from things that they say happened in their childhood, some essay charges. And so what do you think about that fact that they were partying with underage teens? And is that something that you think is normal? Because I'm a mature grown woman and I can tell you I've never had a party at my house where I've invited, underage people to come and join me. And I don't even, I'm not a big party person, but I've never had underage kids join me on the party. So what do you guys think about that? If you want to join the top chat and talk to me, all you need to do is subscribe and wait 1 minute and you'll be able to join into the top chat. The top chat comment section is for subscribers only. Everyone's invited to watch, and then anyone can leave a comment in the comment section below. Rianne says Candus refused to give out the address. They were at the parents, so they had to ring law enforcement to have access to their children. Thanks, Rianne. That's really helpful. So the parents didn't know where they were. Candus wouldn't tell them the address of the property, so the parents were calling the police in order to have the police please get their children out of there and bring them home. And as a parent myself, I can totally understand that. I would be beyond upset to find out that my child was engaging with that kind of behavior with adults. I would have really I would be very skeptical of adults who are interested in partying with my teenager. I would think that's really bizarre. What do you guys think? Would you find that odd? Debbie Z has her opinion on Dawn and Candus Wells. And Sonia says, no, not normal. She's a great grandma. Oh, wow, Sonia, that's awesome. Holly says, yes, I was wondering which PI that was that the father had contacted because there had been a PI at the house with Allie and H. Yeah, there was from what I heard, from what Allie said, they came to get H and apparently were knocking at his bedroom window, trying to get him to come out of the house because the dad couldn't get access to him in the house. Now, H was at home safe with his mom during all of this. So, but then they couldn't get access to him. I guess he didn't want to come out. So I don't know. I guess they finally did get him. I don't know if the father went through the courts or if they finally did convince him to come, but my understanding is that H did go visit his dad. Anna D said it's not okay to party with minors. I agree with you, Anna. I don't think that's normal. I don't think that's what most of us would do. I think it's really unusual to have a party where you have, adults, and Don's in his 50s and Candus is in her 30s, and partying with underage teenagers is a little bit odd to me. It's a lot odd to me, honestly. And it raised off just a giant red flag as to why was Candus texting with H. And it's something that I'm going to address tomorrow in the video that I'm putting out in the first thing in the morning tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. It's a good video. Rianne Evans says that it's disgusting as these are not teenagers yet, all are under 12. My understanding was that not all, there was some teenagers in the mix too, but if they're under 12, that's even more disturbing. But any minor is disturbing. Rianne says that guy from Texas, and I don't think he was a PI, and his name is, um, you're talking about, okay, so are you talking about the video from Molly Golightly's site? There was some kind of, and I don't know the backstory on this, so I don't want to get into it too much, but all I know is there was some kind of altercation between Benny and Molly, and they had some kind of altercation, not like just an argument, a dispute. And I don't know the backstory on that, and I honestly I don't want to get into that. So let's not go there tonight because I don't know any of that. I have not been part of the YouTube true crime community for that long. I'm newer to YouTube, so I don't really want to get into that. I just want to come in and focus on Summer Wells and finding Summer Wells and figuring out what happened to Summer Wells. And I also want to focus on Kylen Schulte and Crystal Turner and their case in the Moab murders, and then Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito. And I would like to get justice for Gabby, Kylen, Crystal, and of course, Summer. And again, this is the 6-month anniversary of Summer's disappearance, the 6-month anniversary of when Summer, quote, got gone. And Debbie Z says the parents should have pressed charges. It's such a hard call to make, Debbie, because do you press charges, but then they're neighbors and then you have drama with your neighbors or not? It's really hard to say like what the right choice is on that, of whether you should or shouldn't press charges. I don't know. Would you guys have pressed charges in that case? I think knowing what I know now, I definitely would. But if I didn't know what I knew now about, Dawn's background, I don't know if I would have pressed charges because I don't know if I would have wanted to make drama with my neighbors. Does that make sense? So we also learned that Candus and Dawn have a manager named Tim. And we learned that Candus apparently was threatened to hurt Tim with a gun. And when she called him, the only thing he disputed about her doing that was the type of gun he was going to use. So I was like, oh my gosh. But then my next question after the shock of why would you be threatening anybody? I mean, that's really, really scary stuff. And is that like normal? But then my next question after that was, why did Dawn and Candus need a manager? What is that about? What is that about? Is there some I've never heard of most missing person cases where the parents run out and get a manager. So what do you guys think that's about? Sonia says she would have pressed charges, and Rianne said yes, she would. Hi, Mary. Nice to see you. Mary Weaver says, were Summer and the boys there? I'm going to assume they probably were, Mary, because I don't know where else they would have been, but we don't really know because who was advocating for Summer and the boys at that point? It does make you wonder if we do find Summer, should she go back home? Like what will happen to her if we do find her? Where is she and where should she go after they find her? Should she be returned into the custody of the Wells family, or would she go into custody for Child Protective Services? What do you guys think? Cheryl says she would have called the police. Hi, Kid Nonas. She says, I started watching your videos because of Kylen and Crystal. Yeah, we're going to talk about Kylen and Crystal today, Kid. I just, that case breaks my heart. I feel like the police were way too quick to dismiss certain aspects of that case. And I have a lot of concerns. And in talking to people who are from Moab, a lot of people are asking the question, did the police put the tourism aspect of that city ahead of justice? And we're going to talk about that in a couple of minutes. So Mary says the kids should have been removed before Summer went missing. Mary Weaver, I agree with you. I mean, we know that Child Protective Services did have a case open into the Wells children, all 4 of them. And it makes me wonder what would have happened if they had gone ahead and just acted quicker and removed the children from custody, because then Summer would probably still be here. She would be safe. We would know where she is. So they're talking about Benny. I don't know who Benny is, and I think he's a YouTuber. I don't have any kind of drama or problem with him. I I I don't know that if he's a PI or not. I do know that there are private investigators who are working on the Summer Wells case, and I know that there's private groups that are donating their own time and resources to search for Summer. And I can't even imagine what good and decent people they are to go and do that. But I don't want to get into the whole Betty Keys and Molly Golightly thing. I saw a little bit of the thing, but I don't know the backstory, and I don't know enough to talk about it in an educated fashion. And also, that's not why Reporter Room is here. We're not here to do that. So Jennifer says, thank you. Rianne says that she thinks Summer is not with us any longer. Gosh, Rianne, that just like, I think with 6 months past and no information, a lot of people are feeling the same way that you are, Rianne. And the only thing I just keep hanging on to is the fact that we did find J.C. Dugard years later, and also Elizabeth Smart was found, months later. So maybe we can find Summer, but I'm worried about the same thing, Rianne. But I'm not going to go there until I have, information from law enforcement that tells me that that is the case. Debbie Z says Summer should not go back to Candus and Dawn. Thank you, Debbie. I think a lot of people feel the way that you do, that Summer should not go back to Candus and Dawn. And in my opinion, I think there needs to be a long, hard look. And I guess a big question would be, how did she disappear? And maybe that will give us some more answers too, as to where Summer should go if and when we do find her. Jennifer Hitchcock says, with a heavy heart, she believes Rihanna is correct. Anna D says, no, Summer should never go back to that home. She needs love, care, and stability. I agree. The kids deserve love, care, and stability. And I pray that the boys have that also. Kid Nona says, yay, Kylen and Crystal still bothers me so much, and they definitely were too quick to say Brian had nothing to do with it. I agree with you, Kid Nona, 100%. We're going to get to Kylen and Crystal in a couple of minutes. But because this is the 6-month anniversary of the day that Summer disappeared, we're going to focus on her first. So Rian says, a manager was appointed for the Wells family due to mental health issues. Appointed by who? So was he appointed by an outside entity, Rianne? Or did they hire him themselves? Was he court appointed, or did they hire him? That's a really interesting take on it. If you know, please let me know. If you don't, that's okay. And Sonia says he's not. I was just saying because of Tim. Lone Wolf Spirit, welcome. Convicted felons can't be PIs. Okay. I don't know about that. I think maybe in certain states have different rules than other states. So I'm not sure. Holly Southern Style says she thinks Summer is going to be alive till the full moon ceremony. And it's not just Summer, but all the missing kids are linking up. I don't know, Holly. I don't think I don't know what to say back to that. I don't think there's going to be like a full moon ceremony. I think, there's reasons why Summer got gone, and we all have our theories as to what happened to her. And, what is your number one theory of what you think happened to her? Did she get taken by a stranger? Was it someone who was in the circle of people? I mean, if we look at what happened with the little baby from Australia, Cleo, she was taken by someone that was following Cleo's mom on Facebook. So it was in their extended group of people that knew them. And she was taken by someone who had been, I guess, became obsessed with her through Facebook pictures and then just took an opportunity to grab her. So do you think could be somebody that's in Dawn Wells and Candace Wells' inner circle, or maybe somebody in Dawn Wells and Candace Wells' outer circle? Or do you think it was an accident? What do you guys think? Debbie Z's telling me who Benny is. He's a friend of Dawn and Candace. Okay, thanks, Debbie. And Rianne says that I believe that, that Andy Jr. and Candace Sr. have a lot to do with it. Who's Andy, Rianne? I'm curious as to who Andy is. Jennifer Hitchcock says in Tennessee, partying with minors is illegal, contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Thank you, Jennifer. I think I would be like really shocked if that was legal in any states to be partying with minors, because you're right, it's contributing to the delinquency of a minor. So, should the parents have pressed charges? In retrospect, maybe, but maybe the best thing would be not make a lot of drama and just get your kids home and then ground them for the rest of their childhood. I don't know. Catherine Marie says, thank you. Creator drama is out of control. I'm not into that. I'm just so new onto YouTube, but even if I was, I probably wouldn't go there. Sonia Stanger says, I think it's more probable than not. Thank you, Sonia. Trey says, I want Summer to be alive, but unfortunately my gut is telling me something happened to her at the swimming hole. Wow, Trey. I think a lot of people are worried about that maybe, because she was underage and she was swimming in this like murky hole. And what's really weird is that Warriors Path Park has a swimming pool. So they could have gone to the swimming pool at Warriors. So why they went to this like murky watering hole where the horses are watered to swim. And then we have on top of that a preschooler who doesn't know how to swim, not wearing a flotation device. And in my family, when we have kids around the pool or around the lake or, around the ocean, anytime the kids are around water, even if we're all there as adults watching them, we put them in what we call a fun vest. We put them in a fun vest and then they go swimming. So this way, they're safe. Even if somebody took their eyes off of them for a minute or something went wrong. This doesn't mean we're not watching our children. Of course, everyone's watching their children, but just as a backup precaution, they're in that life preserver, which we call a fun vest, which is just basically a little ski vest for kids that is just that added extra little bit of protection. So I don't know why she was in that murky water. And so many people are wondering, did something happen? We know it couldn't be dry drowning because dry drowning occurs within an hour. And we know from H that she was okay for the first hour because they made multiple stops after Warriors Path State Park swimming. They went back to Walgreens to pick up Grandis's prescription, and they went shopping at Priceless, and then they dropped off H, and Allie saw her, and then they went home. So, but secondary drowning happens from hour 1 to within 24 hours after the incident. So maybe it could be that. Oh, no worries, Rianne. Rianne's worried about a typo. I make them all the time. Hi, Ellen. Welcome to Reporter Room. For those of you that don't know, I'm Jessica Della Davies. You're watching Reporter Room. If you want to join the top chat and talk with all of us, all you need to do is subscribe, wait 1 minute, and you can join us. So please feel free to join us. So Ellen thinks that she wandered off the property. I could really see how that happened because it was there were, the boys were inside, apparently watching and playing YouTube videos. We can see from that door. I definitely think a preschooler could get that door in the basement, could get that door open if she really wanted to. And maybe she did just wander off the property. It is very, very possible. And we did see those footprints. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, we've heard from 2 different neighbors of the Wells that a single footprint was found on 2 different neighbors' properties. And no, it was not Jody Sue. So 2 different neighbors' property, a single child's barefoot print, and the neighbors said that their children weren't going bare feet. So make of that what you will, but it's very interesting. There's been a lot of speculation. Was someone carrying her and they set her down for a minute? Was she walking and that's just where her foot got an imprint? Because if you're walking, it depends on what kind of ground you're stepping on, whether or not you leave a footprint or not. So what do you guys think about that? So Holly says, just watch. Oh, your links won't come through, Holly. Your links won't come through. YouTube doesn't let those come through in a chat. Kid Nona says, I don't trust her parents at all. Something feels off. I just don't feel their honesty. I think that's one of the biggest things, Kid Nona, that's like grabbed everybody's attention on this case. Everybody's like, why has this case gotten so much national attention? And I think one, it's that a child, a preschooler, went missing from inside her own home with her brothers inside and her mom and grandma right outside. That just kind of feels like, oh. And then the other part of it is that all of the antics from Dawn and Candus that have gone on since, it's just been, it's just been nonstop drama from the parents, which has just been crazy. Rian says the water that they used must have been full of bacteria and other things. Yeah, the water at that, for secondary drowning, you have a better outcome of surviving a secondary drowning incident. And what that means is the body reacts to the water later, hours later. It can be 1 hour to 24 hours later. And it's worse if the water is dirty. And that water is definitely murky and dirty. Trey says that he believes Candace Wells was neglectful, causing Summer's passing. Eliza said, this is my first time catching you live. Hope I enjoy your investigative journalism. Thanks, Eliza. That means a lot. I really appreciate your kindness and your compassion and your support. I really, really, really appreciate it. Holly Southern South says she thinks Summer went to go see the horses, and that's how she was able to get snatched. I'm also curious about the place that the loose horses were running around in the back of the interview came from. Okay, so the watering hole that they went to at Warriors has stables. They have riding stables where you can go and you can go horseback riding right there in the park. So the horses are watered at that watering hole, which is why it was such an odd choice to go swimming. It's not a normal swimming hole. I hope that answers your question, Holly. Sonia Stanger says, my grandkids get on Fortnite and there's no talking or interruptions. Exactly. Kids get engrossed in their games. And to be clear, it's not the boys' responsibility to watch Summer. They weren't, hired babysitters. It's the parents' responsibility. But by Candace's account, she and Grandis were right outside. And we have all seen how close Grandis's trailer is to the house, to the door that leads into the kitchen of the house. So I think that's one of the things that's like grabbed all of our attention, which is that how does a child go missing from inside their own home? How does this happen? Rianne Evans says abduction has been ruled out by TBI. I haven't heard that, Rianne. I think that, they haven't ruled out anything, including the parents and the people around the parents, and including the abduction theory. They don't think they've ruled out anything yet, Rianne. Anna says she's wondering if there was a planned meetup of some sort at the swimming hole. H was going into the woods as soon as they get to the swimming hole and then coming out grinning, flashing his hands. Oh, wow, Anna, that's a really interesting theory. So you think that, and in light of everything that's come out about the teenagers and the partying with the underage minors by the Wells parents, it does make you wonder, was there some kind of a planned meetup at the swimming hole? We know it's a huge party spot from the interview that Candus did with Chris McDonough. He went prior to the interview and pointed out, all of the twisted tea cans and all of the garbage from teenagers going there to hang out. And you're right. Candus said he did go up the path And wow, that's a really interesting theory, Anna. Um, Holly says that the biggest clue is the dog that goes to where she was last at, and this is why it's so important that he doesn't stay at the house or at the car. She walked to the end of the road path to where the neighbors. Yeah, I've heard that the dogs followed her down to the end of the road, and it could very well be that she got out that back door and just wandered off. Um, it could very well be. And the dogs followed her scent. I guess the big question that law enforcement was asking is, did the dogs log off or follow the scent? Was it from that one time when she disappeared, or was it from earlier that day or even the day before? I'm going to grab a sip of my killer coffee here. Let's see what else we have. Holly Ellen says, I have been involved in this case since the first week, and the story breaks my heart. So you've been on this case the whole time, Ellen. So what do you think happened in this? Because it breaks my heart too. And I think we would all like to, have answers. I'd love to hear what your theories are. And Eliza says that she seems if horses drink from it, it might be all right. Yeah, it might be all right to drink from it if you're a horse, but not a little preschooler, probably, and definitely not okay to inhale it. Whether it's clean chlorinated water, which does give you a better prospect of surviving a secondary drowning than murky water, but definitely not okay to inhale it, in my opinion, if that's even what happened. Sonia says, thank you, those boys are not babysitters. No, it wasn't their responsibility. And I kind of feel like a little bit of pressure was placed on them in that they were told to watch her, and in watching the first interview, the little boy, that the first interview that Don did with the news, and he had one of the boys with him, the boy just looked so heartbroken. He just looked so sad. Looked like a really sweet little boy. Sonia's okay. So Rian says Candus has been publicly, and Kid Nona says inside the home, but within that time frame is what baffles me. Exactly, Kid Nona's exactly this whole 2-minute window. I mean, it would have to, and I'm not saying an opportunistic thing couldn't have occurred, because we know in the Cleo case, people were saying the same thing. Why would you take Cleo with her sleeping bag? Well, that's what he did, and they were saying, did Cleo even go camping with her family? And for those of you that don't know, she was a little girl in Australia that was kidnapped, and law enforcement found her, and the parents cooperated 110%. I didn't cover the case because I felt like the parents were on it, and I felt like law enforcement was on it. But it could have been an opportunistic. It can happen that fast. It's possible, and I think that's what gets our mind spinning. And then that 2-minute window is so tight. Was it just 2 minutes, or is it possible that Candus came home, she was tired, maybe she fell asleep for an hour, or was folding laundry for an hour, and maybe time can fly when you're engrossed in other things. So maybe it wasn't 2 minutes. Maybe it was just a bigger window than that. What do you guys think about that? Holly says lots of members of the SBA were hanging around also, flashing those signs. Aren't those some Mason sign? I have no idea. I don't know. Jenny DeSilva says maybe Candus and H were, while Summer was swimming. Jenny, in light of the whole partying with teens that we now have learned about, where parents have filed police report complaints about this, it does make you wonder if some of that was going on. Was there something else happening? If you want to join the top chat and talk with us, all you need to do is subscribe and wait 60 seconds, and you can join in with us. Holly said, did anyone find out what loose horse had it come from? Definitely think the link, maybe whoever took her went back down there and forgot to close the gate. I don't know if you're talking about the horse that was in the interview with Chris McDonough and Candus. I'm not really sure what you're talking about there, Holly. So I can't answer that. So I'm sorry. Eliza says, I agree. No inhaling the water, impossible dry drowning. Doctors call this phenomenon post-immersion syndrome. Thanks, Eliza. That's really helpful. And what happens is if the water is cold and clear, then the kids have a better chance of, and the kids are breathing on their own, they have a better chance of surviving if they're brought into the hospital. But if your child is underwater for any period of time, you do need to take them to the emergency room to be assessed so that they can make a determination if you don't know how long they've been underwater. And what I wonder if something did happen where she, was underwater for a little bit longer than anybody knew, and then maybe it was a dry drowning incident. Trey says, so many nights I've lost sleep over this case. I'm too emotionally invested. I relate to what she went through, and it hurts to know that she suffered. I feel you, Trey. I feel the same way. And it does really feel sad. It does hurt your heart. Rianne thinks there's a 3. Are you talking about the window from when they got home to when she was reported missing to 911 was more like 3 hours? I agree. I think there's at least a 1.5, 2 hour, possibly up to 3 hour gap from when they left Allie's house to when 911 was called. So they dropped off H and they went home and they unloaded the groceries, and supposedly the 3 boys and Summer all helped with groceries. And then Summer went with Candus and Grandis to help plant flowers. We know Candus was doing some laundry in there. So maybe it wasn't just a 2-minute window. Maybe the window was just, an hour. And, time can fly when you're doing other things. Maybe it just felt like 2 minutes. Or maybe Candus was scared because Child Protective Services did have a case open, and maybe she was scared she was, something would happen and she would be blamed. Anna says, also very strange. We see on the video H coercing Summer toward the branch in the water. I do not see video of them coming out. I think he was, genuinely playing with her and having fun with her. But, we didn't see a video of them coming out. I do think she came out because I would think that law enforcement would be able to get her on video. But I don't know. We don't know because TBI and the FBI have kept this case so tight. We don't know if there's any video of Summer after Warrior's Path. Was there video of them going through the drive-thru at Walgreens to pick up Grandis's prescription? Was there video of them at the Sonic getting the slushies? But we do know that Allie says that she saw Summer in the back of the car. And we do have the video from Grandis and a photograph that's time-stamped that shows that Summer was in the back of the car after Warriors. Anna says, speeding car yellow when the deputy arrived. Hi, Anna Banana. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. Okay, Holly's talking about the loose horse. So there was a loose horse that had gotten out right when they were first called out, and it turned up in one of the news reports video footage running down the road. That's really interesting, Holly. I did not see anything about that. It could have just been a coincidence. It could be related. I don't know. Linda Kramer says H said she went under. Yeah, I saw that too, Linda, and I believe him. I don't really see any motive that he would say that she went under if she didn't go under. Cheryl Bull says she believes the neighbors heard Summer being taken. Are you talking about the scream that Jody heard with her 2 teenage sons, Cheryl? Is that what you're talking about? Because I'm going to grab some sip of my coffee here. Because Jody Sue reported that she heard a scream, and both of her teenage kids reported hearing the exact same thing. So now we have 3 people all reporting the same thing, that they heard a scream, and then she heard people yelling for Summer just a couple of hours later. Hi, Diana. Welcome to Reporter Room. Trey said there is truly only Candus's word on the timeline and her habit of lying. How are we to know exactly what happened? Trey, that's such a great question. We have all caught Candus lying. And I think the biggest thing that, sticks out to me is when she called Dawn's stepsister, Mary, and pretended that Dawn had been arrested and taken away by police. And then she messed up, though, because in the same conversation, she said that Dawn had been also kidnapped by the Mexican mafia. But Mary was, I'm sure Mary had like red flags going up because, which is it? Because she couldn't keep her nonsense straight. But it is, one of the things that we learned from that incident and hearing Candus, and Mary recorded the conversation, and hearing Candus, we learned that Dawn and Candus can conspire together, and that Candus can fake cry and lie very, very convincingly. Her crying sounded real to me, and if I didn't have the context of everything else that she said in that phone call, I would have believed that she was crying. H had said they went to the stables. I heard that Grandis and Candus went up to the stables to pick flowers, but I didn't hear anything about Summer joining them. So that's interesting, Holly. Thank you. And then Jenny says, Jenny De Silva, if they planned to go smoke, drink, fool around, that's why they would go to that dodgy water hole instead of a more public sanitary. Yeah, Jenny, there's a proper swimming pool at Warriors State Path Park. So, why a lot of us are like big red flags. And then when I heard about the teenagers and the police being called, and I thought that, good on, the YouTubers that went up there and discovered that, good on them that we found out that, they've been partying with teens. It does raise big red flags about why they picked that spot. I think we always had red flags, but this even made it bigger. And why was H invited to go that day? Because Candus was not getting along with Allie at that point. So Trey, that scream, yeah, possibly Candus finding Summer. She tried to tell Jody Sue there was no scream. I believe there was. I believe Jody Sue also, Trey, because it's not just her word I have to take for it. It's also 2 teenagers that were in her house. So I think getting 3 people to conspire and just make up a story is really hard. And when I saw the son being interviewed and I saw Jody Sue being interviewed for network TV about it, this was on the news, she seemed authentic. She seemed like she really believed it. I didn't see any red flags come up in his retelling of what happened either, her teen son. Anna Banana says, there was speeding yellow vehicle on 615 as the deputies arrived on the scene. It could be, Anna, we don't know. We know we've had, we've talked about the blue truck, we've talked about the red truck, and now there's some kind of a yellow vehicle. It could have just been somebody, trying to get home and in a hurry, or, it could be something to it. And, that's why TBI and the FBI are, continuing to look into this case. Cheryl Bull says, oh, she's talking to Trey. Debbie C says, I don't see how Jody Sue could hear a muffled scream. She didn't say that it was muffled. So I don't know. She said it sounded animalistic. I quote, animalistic, but not an animal. And that's how she characterized it. So I don't know. Cheryl Bull says, yes, the scream they heard from the neighbors and the 3 people hearing the same scream. I believe them. I believe that there was a scream. I just don't know why. Was it kids playing? Was it something else? I don't know. Was it related to the case? The police don't seem to think that it was. But I don't know. I'm not going to rule that out. Donna Forthman. Hi, Donna. Diana Forthman. Dawn said that the scream was muffled, and Jody Sue said an odd scream. Yeah, her exact words, Diana, were an animalistic scream, but it wasn't an animal. So, and also her son and daughter. Holly Southern Style says, does anybody in the chat know who the PI with the Monte Carlo that sped off could have been talking to Allie? I don't know, Holly. Anna Banana says, when Don was on Mrs. Cher, he mentioned how Summer's hair had grown. Yeah, I saw that too. That was kind of weird, right? I don't know if that was like a intentional mislead on his part, because I have seen, some manipulation with them, or if that was just a legitimate slip of the tongue. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think about all of the appearances that Don is making on all of these YouTube channels? Also, he's really made the rounds, and it's been interesting to watch. We've heard Don and Candus repeatedly referring to Summer in the past tense. So make of that what you will also. And we're going to be talking about the Moab murder case and Kylen Schulte and Crystal Turner, uh, along with Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito in about 5 more minutes. So let's continue on with Summer Wells. And then I've got some really interesting information on Brian Laundrie, Gabby Petito, and then Kylen and Crystal. So Trey says she's from a city in Canada. They have cameras everywhere. And she was so frustrated that Summer's area has no cameras. It's such a rural area. And, you make up a really good point there, Trey. And the other thing that makes me wonder is if you don't have good camera coverage because the area is so rural, was the data that they were able to get from the cell phone GPS and the car, because remember, Dawn took Candus's newer SUV, the car GPS, would that be in its entirety, or would it just be spotty based on how rural and mountainous the area is? So normally in a big city, you could probably literally track someone using their cell phone or their a newer car GPS. But in a rural area, it's really different. And I'm assuming they would have all this information because they would have had it within 60 days, according to the FBI, all of the phone dumps that they did from the cell phone towers. So is it in its entirety, or is it spotty and patchy and they just don't have as much? Diana says she's talking to Trey. And Ethan was from North Carolina at the same time the PI was at Allie's house. The only thing I knew about North Carolina, Holly, is that that's where Grandis took Jose. He took Jose to a woman's house after Dawn got home. And we had the October 2020 DV incident between Dawn and Candus where she did press charges. And he was taken into custody. And then she dropped charges. And then she suddenly got a brand new, beautiful SUV. So make of that what you will. Anna Benita says, very possible. She lives nearby. Trey Dawn says that Dawn is trying to distract constantly. He and Candus believe they've outsmarted everyone. Sadly, it's looking that way. It's infuriating. It does. I don't know if they've, outsmarted TBI or the FBI, but it does make you really feel, concern over, what's going on and why haven't we been able to get anywhere on this case? Where is this baby? Where is this little girl? And I do give credit to the people that are working really hard, like you guys. People were so quick to, down internet sleuths. But if you look at the Moab murder case, if you look at the Gabby Petito case, YouTube sleuthing has been crucial. Online sleuths have been crucial to those cases. Red, White, and Bethune caught on their dash cam one of the last images we have of Gabby's van, Gabby Petito. And lo and behold, her body was near where they caught that van on camera. And if it wouldn't have been for that, Red, White, and Bethune, we might never have found out what happened with Gabby. And then when Kylen and Crystal went missing, Kylen's dad, Sean Paul, crowdsourced on Facebook, and Cindy Sue Hunter lived in the Moab area, and she went out because law enforcement said that they couldn't find Kylen and Crystal's campsite. They couldn't find them. She went out, and in one day, she found Kylen and Crystal. So internet sleuths have a massive role in these cases, and I commend all of you who have put in the time and the work and the effort to find Summer Wells, to find justice for Gabby Petito, to find justice for Kylen and Crystal. Diane says North Carolina is right over the mountains from us, so close, less than an hour. Thank you, Diana. Cheryl says the government can track the GPS with their technology. You may be right, Cheryl. They may be able to get that GPS down with satellite imagery. Good point. Anna D says, yes, angels on wheels. Kid Nona says, I'm a very small area, and I do believe that they are able to pick up cell phone pings, and they have lots of surveillance still. Thanks, Kidnonis. That's great to know, because I was really wondering if maybe the reason that we didn't, hear more about the cell phone tower data and the GPS car on that red Subaru that would tell us where Don was, why we haven't heard more about it, is either that the TBI and FBI are holding that very close to their chest, or maybe they didn't, weren't able to follow it the whole entire day. But thanks for letting us know that. Trey said, I've combined every interview. Candus has had time to call Don so he could with Grandis to take Summer away before calling 911. I think we all can agree that there's some kind of a gap there from when they came home to when Summer disappeared. There is a gap there. We just don't know how long it is. Candus says that it's 2 minutes. Excuse me. And I just got over a chest cold, so I was sick all last week, y'all. So, we just don't know. How big of the window was that? That's another burning question. This little girl went missing from inside her house. So was it 2 minutes, or was it 1 hour? Was it 2 hours? Did Candus get caught up in laundry and not, lose a little bit of track of time? Or was there something nefarious going on? It's, such a great point. Thank you. Diana says she truly believes the feds will solve this. Patience is hard. Oh, I pray you're right, Diana. I pray you're right. Alaya Z, hello from Greece. Oh, wow. Hi, welcome to Reporter Room. If you're just joining us, we're going to be talking about the Moab murders with Kylen, Schulte, and Crystal Turner, and I have some really good new information on Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito coming up in just a few minutes. But right now, today is the 6-month anniversary of when Summer disappeared. So we are talking about Summer Wells right this minute. If you want to join the chat, all you need to do is subscribe, wait 60 seconds, 1 minute, and you can join the top chat. So she's hello from Greece. Happy to catch a live, even a little bit late. Again, thanks for all the info for those of us who are far away and don't have coverage of these huge cases. I'm so glad that you joined us. Thank you and welcome. Kid Nona says, I thought Cindy was Kylen and Crystal's friend. No, my understanding is she was friends with Sean Paul, but Sean Paul doesn't live in Moab. So when Kylen and Crystal disappeared, and the police said that they couldn't find them, and they were reported missing by coworkers on the 16th. And remember, Brian made that bizarre trip home on the 17th. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to finish up Summer Wells here in about 1 minute. And then at the end, we'll do some more questions on all the cases. But I want to talk about Kylen and Crystal, Brian Laundrie, and Gabby Petito for just a minute. So Diane says when she drives to Asheville, her GPS will go offline in spots. That's what I was worried about, that maybe the GPS doesn't, track all of the movements. And maybe Don Wills doesn't have the alibi that he thinks he did. He was really mocking and taunting Candus, saying, Candus I have 7 alibis. Candus ain't got none. Candus is going down, really taunting her and mocking her. And maybe he doesn't have the alibi that he thinks he does. Lone Wolf Spirit, welcome. Don's not in rehab. That's been debunked. He's not. I haven't heard that either. I don't think anybody's, I haven't seen anything about that. Lone Wolf Spirit in the chat today. Maybe I missed it and it came through, but no, he and Candus are both out. From my understanding, nobody's in rehab. It would be great, if they went, but that's all we can do. So let's talk a little bit about Brian Laundrie and the Moab murders of Kylen, Crystal, and Kylen Schulte. And if you haven't heard, the Brian Laundrie parents are now petitioning to get their hands, and the news reports are saying it's $20,000 that Brian Laundrie had in a bank account. at Bank of America. So this is opening up a whole window of speculation. One is why, because remember, Stephen Bertolino, the Brian Laundrie parents' attorney, initially put out a statement that Brian came home on the 17th of August, which is the day after Kylen and Crystal were reported missing by coworkers. And the last time they were seen on camera was August 13th. So why, if Brian had 20 grand in the bank, why was he coming home to empty out a storage locker? And I don't know exactly the size of their storage locker, but the average storage locker in Northport, Florida is $100 a month. $100 a month. So why was he coming home to empty out a storage locker, which is what their attorney put out, if he had 20 grand in the bank? And then the other flip side of that about Brian Laundrie is, if he had 20 grand in the bank, why was he using Gabby Petito's credit card? That's what he was charged with. That's the only crime so far he's been charged with, was using that Capital One bank card, allegedly. So if that's true, then why would he need to use her card when he had 20 grand in the bank? And so that brings up my third point, which is, in my opinion, he didn't have that in the bank the whole time. Maybe, and I don't know for sure, but just maybe his parents put that in the bank when he slipped away from their home the second time he came home, when he came home on September the 1st, leaving Gabby behind, but Gabby driving Gabby's van, using Gabby's credit cards. Maybe they put that in the bank after for him to disappear. I don't know for sure. I'm just throwing that out there, but that's my educated guess. What do you guys think? Okay, so Kid Nonus was telling us that we have 3 hours to the closest Walmart. So for those of you that don't know, I've been covering the Moab murder case and the links to Brian Laundrie. And the reason that I've linked Brian Laundrie to this case, and the reason that I feel even more strongly that he was dismissed from this case of what happened to Kylen and Crystal, is now we know how Brian ended his own life. We know how he ended it. So with that in mind, did we know he had a weapon. So, and that's how Kylen and Crystal passed. And we, that was always kind of a little bit of our sticking point, because Gabby passed a different way. But we know he had a motive, because Kylen was working at the Moonflower Grocery Co-op on August the 12th. Kylen was working as the cashier, and Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito were right outside, supposedly across the street, working on their blog that morning before they got pulled over in the now infamous Moab August 12th police stop. Brian would have been furious to get moved to the Bowen Motel, which is coincidentally just a couple minutes from the Moonflower Grocery Co-op, and it's also just a couple minutes down the road from Woody's Tavern, where Kylen and Crystal were last seen at 9:30 on August the 13th. So on August the 12th, Brian's put in a hotel room just a couple minutes down the road from Woody's. So my question is, where was Brian on the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th before he arrived in Florida on the 17th? Why did Brian go running home to Florida on the 17th? Would you spend $1,000, give or take $100 on airfare, and have Gabby stay in the hotel for 5 or 6 nights? Because he didn't come back until the 26th, and she was in a hotel. Hotels aren't cheap in that area. Would you spend all that money just to empty out a storage locker? The whole saving money thing doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. And it especially doesn't make sense when we find out that he had $20,000 in a bank account. So either A, he didn't really, that wasn't the real reason that he came home, or B, the parents gave him the money once he came home after Gabby, which maybe they had some guilty knowledge. I don't know. And he was supposed to go on the run with that. And that's why he disappeared on Monday, but they said he disappeared on Tuesday until Brian Enton outed him with his video footage of outside their house. Then they said that he did disappear on Monday, but didn't report that he had disappeared until Thursday. So I don't know. What do you guys think? I do believe that they are. Micah. Hi, Micah. Welcome. I do believe that they are. I believe the DNA as evidence. And then Holly says she wonders if the credit card was used to write a check for that slide in the RV, and that's why it bounced. So that has been a third account. Brian has been charged with who that belongs to. The slide in the RV? I don't know. I don't know anything about that. Anna, can you clarify that? I don't know about that. I would love to know. Hi, Micah. I'm glad you're here. Welcome to Reporter Room. If you're just joining us, we just have been talking about Summer Wells and the anniversary of her 6-month death, or 6-month disappearance, sorry. And then we're talking about the deaths of Kylen Schulte, Crystal Turner, Gabby Petito, and Brian Laundrie. And so if you haven't heard, there's also a new documentary on Gabby Petito that's coming out on Peacock, and it's coming out this Friday, December the 17th. They're gonna on their Peacock channel, and it's called The Murder of Gabby Petito: Truth, Lies, and Social Media. And as you know, the Petito parents were really, really forthright about their appreciation to the online sleuthing community and the work that they put in to help find Gabby, because, police were looking for a very long time. And if it wouldn't have been for Red, White, and Bethune. And then we also have Nina Angelou, who had the last known live sighting of Gabby Petito at the Mary Piglet restaurant. All of those things helped paint a picture of what was going on that led up to the time that Gabby disappeared, and helped us to locate Gabby's bodies. No, I don't agree with that. I'm sorry, Micah. No, I don't believe this is crisis acting, and I don't think that's a kind thing to do. For the family, I think that's a disservice. I'm going to just speak out right now for the Petito, Gabby Petito's family. I think that's a disservice to the Gabby Petito family to say that this is crisis actors. No, it's not. These are real people with real parents, and something really did happen. I don't like off the wall conspiracy theories. I like theories, but not conspiracy theories. I believe the DNA evidence. I am a journalist, and I believe in DNA evidence. Holly said if he was supposed to have gotten the camper, what truck he would have used, who was it, if they bought it from again. I don't know who they bought. You're talking about the camper that the parents had? The parents bought a camper right when Brian came home, and when they all went camping to Fort DeSoto Park, because we all know that when your son's girlfriend or fiance goes missing, a girl that's been living with your son and with you, when she disappears, the best thing to do is to go enjoy a camping weekend and not answer any text messages from Gabby Petito's mom and dad. Can you imagine having your daughter go missing and be texting with the parents of Brian, and them just not answer your message? I cannot imagine how hard of a heart you would have to have. And maybe in their mind, they thought they were doing something noble for Brian's sake, but what they did to the Petito family, in my opinion, is just really hurtful. Debbie Z says, I think Brian's parents gave him the money and they're guilty of helping Brian escape. That's the first thing that kind of popped into my head too, because this whole thing of why he came home, it's always been an odd statement because, for him to come home the first time, remember, he came home twice from the van life trip. The first time was the day after Kylen and Crystal were reported missing. He returned home on the 17th of August, and Kylen and Crystal were reported missing from work by coworkers on the 16th of August. And they were found on the 18th of August by web sleuth Cindy Sue Hunter, who is my personal hero in this story. So if he came home on the 17th and he had all this money, there would be no reason to come home to empty a storage locker. So that just blows that whole story right out of the water, doesn't it? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't even make sense in terms of the amount of money it would have cost him to buy a ticket from Moab, Utah down to Northport, Florida, and to put Gabby in a hotel. She was in a hotel for 5 or 6 nights, and hotels there aren't cheap. So when you add up all that and you look at how much a storage locker costs, y'all, we're talking around, $100, maybe max 200, maybe less than the 100. That's the average, is 100. So it doesn't make sense. Holly says, Cheryl's interesting to know. Kid Nona says, seriously, Brian has a ton of money. The storage unit or that they were broke does not make sense. Exactly. And why was he using then Gabby's cards, her credit card, to come home? Was that just his last kind of, mean thing he could do to her? Did he just feel so entitled and so angry that was his last thing he could do to her, was use up the little bit of money that she had in her bank account? Or was it that he didn't have the $20,000 yet? He didn't have access to the $20,000, and that was provided to him after. And that is something that I am going to try to get to the bottom of for you guys. And as soon as I have it, I will bring it to you. I'm going to do a video this weekend on Kylen and Crystal. And I have one on Summer, a new one with a new theory coming out tomorrow. And I'm going to be curious what you guys think about a theory that I have on what happened to Summer. Kid notices Brian had a ton of money. Yeah, so that they were broken doesn't make sense. And then Brian's parents were trying to get Brian's money out of his bank. Yeah, well, they're probably hurting financially a little bit at this point, but also they probably are worried that Gabby Petito, his parents are going to file a claim. And in my opinion, I think that Gabby Petito's parents do have a right to that money. And if it's determined that he does have anything to do with what happened to Kylen and Crystal, and we know he had the motive, we know he had the opportunity, and the only person who could give him an alibi, because where was Brian August 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th before he arrived in Florida on the 17th? The only person who knew where Brian was, or potentially knew where Brian was Gabby Petito, and she's not here. And a lot of people have speculated, is that why she is not here? Is that why? Is there something more going on? And so many people in Moab are concerned that, and I'm sorry that sometimes with my Southern accent, you're going to hear me say Moab instead of Moab. Every once in a while, I try not to, have too much of an accent, but every once in a while it does slip out a little bit. So many people are concerned that, he made this trip home on August the 17th, right after what happened to Kylen and Crystal, and he had a motive. We now know he had the means because of how he ended his own life. And he had the opportunity because he was at the Bowen Motel, which is just a couple minutes down the road from Woody's, where the women were last seen. So anyway, I hope we get some answers on that case. Micah says, agree to disagree. Okay, fair enough. I agree with that. Did Brian Laundrie tell the cop he had no money for the hotel room? I don't know if he told them that, or if he just, he also told the police he didn't have a cell phone. And then if you look at the video footage, you see him later pulling out the cell phone out of his pocket. So that was a lie too. So he could have lied and said he didn't have money, or maybe he didn't have money. We don't know. But we know this. Brian would have been hopping mad that he had to go stay at the Bowen Motel, which is like a, you know, and not have the van, because he was trying to leave Gabby behind with the van. He was taking off with the van. So he would have been hopping mad, and he would have seen Crystal working. That Moonflower Grocery Co-op is tiny. He would have seen Crystal working as the cashier that day. Let me get back. If you see me looking over here, it's because I'm reading chat stuff. And if you're just joining us, if you subscribe and wait 1 minute, you can join the chat, and I would love to have you. And we are talking about the Moab murders, Kylen Schulte, Crystal Turner, and also Brian Laundrie and the Gabby Petito case, and how I believe these cases are connected, because their paths did cross on August the 12th. They did cross. And Moab is only a town of 5,000 people. Their last murder was 2 decades ago. So to have this happen in the time frame where he was in the vicinity in a town of 5,000 people, I don't know. What do you guys think? Gigi, welcome, Gigi. She says, I think the first time they had an argument, and either she begged him to come back or he convinced her to buy a return ticket, or was the return ticket already purchased? Great question, Gigi, and welcome. I think that it's possible that, you know, I don't know why he would go back to Florida in the middle of a trip of a lifetime on August the 17th is really bizarre. And that just brings me back to what happened to Kylen and Crystal, and where was he? Where was he? We know he had a motive. He would have been mad. Kylen didn't call 911 on Brian that day. A man named Chris did, but Brian wouldn't have known who called 911 on August the 12th. That got him stopped and got him placed in the Bowen Motel. Cheryl Bull says, oh, she's talking to Holly. Sonia Stranger says she thinks that Gabby's parents, if Brian is involved with those girls passing, then they should get his money. I agree. I think Gabby Petito's parents should get the money as a restitution. And I think that also, if we can get some definitive answers, some ballistics regarding the Kylen Schulte and Crystal Turner case, if that is determined that it was Brian, then, because I just can't think of who else would have a motive to do that. The police haven't shared with us any information about anyone else that had a motive to do that. So I agree, Sonia. Holly says, Cheryl, oh, she's talking to Cheryl. If I miss your comment, just write it again. It just means it went by and I didn't see it, but I am trying to read them. Net Detective says he heard from a source, or she heard from a source, that the Laundries had used Gabby's credit card to pay off some bills. I don't know, can't find a documentation. I didn't hear that it was the Laundrie parents. The indictment came down the warrant came down for Brian. So a warrant was put out for him for using a Capital One credit card or a Capital One account, allegedly. Sonia says she's from Washington State, and we don't have accent. Yeah, sorry about you'll hear me every once in a while throw out a little bit of an accent, and you'll hear every once in a while me tossing out of y'all. And anyway, Rianne says, has there been any DNA evidence found in the case at Moab? Wow, that's a great question. If there is, they have not informed the public about it. And I know I'm in a Facebook group with Sean Paul, who's Kylen's dad, and he really wants the ballistics. He really wants to see the ballistics and see if there's a match or not a match, because we need to know. We need answers. Holly says Moab police with the I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. Holly, Southern Soul, if you ever rumble, yeah, I'm just, let's just leave that. Cheryl, I don't know. That's just some unusual remarks there. I believe in putting forth theories, but I don't go for just nonsense conspiracy theories. I believe the DNA evidence, and I do believe that Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie really are no longer with us. And I do believe that Kylen, Schulte, and Crystal Turner are really no longer with us. I do not believe these parents are crisis actors, and I just don't have time for that nonsense on the channel. So if that's what you believe, I respect your right to believe that, but please don't bring it to my channel. I don't buy that. Woo. Okay. Sonia says they're connected for sure. I would really like to get some answers on the ballistics. I would like to get a definitive answer if they are connected or not connected. Kid Nona says in a small town and they don't have people right in their community every day. They were part of a community for 5 years or more. Yeah, there was nothing like what happened to Kylen and Crystal has happened in Moab, which is a tiny town of 5,000 people, in over 2 decades. Over 2 decades. So definitely, I agree. Anna D says, where did GP stay the night? Where did Gabby stay the night that Brian was at the motel? We don't know because she's not here to tell us. I'm assuming that, she obeyed what the police said, which is they put him at the Bone Motel and she stayed in the van that night. But she could have met up with him, or she could have gone to a hotel herself. I don't know. We don't have any documentation that shows that she was in the hotel. So I'm going to assume that she was in the van. But, we don't know, where was he on the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th? Why did he go running home to Florida that first time? And now that we know what he did to Gabby, we know that running home to Florida after doing something like that, and y'all know I can't say it, doing something like that is, now it's a pattern because it's happened twice. It's happened twice. The first time was after Kylen and Crystal disappeared, and the second time was after Gabby Petito disappeared. Both times ran home to Northport, Florida. Anyway, let's see if I have anything else for you guys. So yeah, I hope we get some answers as to how his parents, where this $20,000 came from. Did it come from them after? And was it, guilty knowledge? Or was it something that, he had saved in a retirement account that maybe he couldn't access on a regular basis? Let me know what you guys think about that. I'm going to sign off for right now. Hi, Tamara. She said she could have stayed with Kylen and Crystal. Oh, that's an interesting theory, Tamara. It very well could be. And the one person that could tell us where she was, and where Brian was, is Gabby. And we know what happened to her. So on that note, I'm going to sign off. I want to thank you guys. If you would be so kind as to give this video a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. If you have any other comments, leave them in the comment section below. And don't forget, I have a brand new video coming out tomorrow on the Summer Wells case with a really interesting theory. And I do want to know what you guys think about that. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.